The whole thing is made up in sections. This is the bottom half. These 3 gears are fixed on one axle, and that gear there is the one which will operate Mercury closest to the Sun, and this one slides over the top, and that one is Venus, and the next one going and that one is Earth. So these can all freely slide one on top of the other. The problem is that the next section, which is this one, is supposed to go over the top. But the problem comes with this centre part. There are the remaining 3 planets in the centre there, but this is the cause of the problem. This one goes on the top and goes through, and that is the orbit of the Earth, and so that has to stay still. Although it's a gear at the moment, it has to stay stationary, and the only way that that can be still and allow the arms to move, which will be underneath, 3 of them, it has to be fixed, and the only way to fix it is to glue it to the underside of this section, the bottom section. Once it's glued on, then the 2 can be assembled. Before I can do that, the arms for the planets, they will fit over like so and slide on, and they'll have to be Loctited in position so they don't move off the shafts, and hopefully it will all go together. Well, there are all the gears together now. Everything works. I just have to put on the remaining 3 arms to go on here. Problem with that is I haven't made one of them yet. I haven't made the one which is the Earth one, because the Earth one is different from the others, because this is the orbit of Earth, and it's arranged so that it goes round with a gear wheel, and the gear wheel actually will rotate the moon around the Earth as it goes round. Now that's the next one that has to go on, so I can't fit the remaining 2 for Mercury and Venus. So that's the next thing, to make the final piece. I have got a small motor with a little gear on it that we've cut. I hope it's powerful enough. It's a 5 RPM cheap one from China, of course, a couple of quid or so. And it will work off the USB connection on a computer, so that it can be left running, and it should revolve reasonably quickly, but not too quick, we hope. We'll have to see. If necessary, we can always gear it down again, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, the motor will go through that bottom hole there and gear onto this one. Now, on the original drawing, this is the one where you're supposed to push it with your finger to make the whole thing operate. Yeah, all right. Well, I suppose that works. Anyway, there we are, that's the next stage.
There we go. That's really bad.
You happy with that?
Well, no, it's very blobby.
Right, just put the flame on it then. All the way around and see if it flows. It could be that the blobbiness is just the flux that's inside.
Okay.
Yeah, it's plenty too hot now. Yeah, just let it cool down.
Don't turn this off. Oh god, is this making on fire?
Yes, you've got to keep the... You don't need the heat when you put the thing on. You'll find there's enough heat in the metal to melt it without the torch.
I think that's...
Okay. Just let it cool off. Yeah, all the way along the tube. That's it. Right. Is it bubbling yet? Right. Nearer the actual joint. That's it.
It's blackening.
That's all right. It can change colour. Okay. Right. Get a little closer with your heat. That's it. It'll start to go red in a minute. The flux should melt, and then when it does, you hold your rod on it. So take the gas away when you put the rod on.
Yeah. I think it's melted.
Yep, go on then. Right, you need, that's it. Just flick it with the flame. Put the flame, that's right. Put the flame on it. That's it. Bit more heat.
I think it's stuck. Okay.
Yeah, turn the heat on it again. Right. Take the rod away. Yeah. The problem is the steel has been taking the heat away. Okay, but now it's half joined. Put the heat back on. Get closer to it with the flame. Closer, closer. That's it. Right, now we're talking. Okay, now put the red hot. Take it away and put the shoulder on. Right, just flick it with the heat again because it's gone. Take the rod away as soon as you get a nice flow. How is it?
I can't really tell. I don't really know what it's supposed to look like.
A bit like the soft solder looked.
Yeah, not as much though.
Right?
Yeah.
Heat it a bit more. Right, that's plenty.
Yeah.
Now put the heat on and make sure that that's flowed all round. Okay, let's have a look at that and see. Right, now you turn the gas off.
Oh, all right.
I meant the oxygen, but
Oh dear.
never mind. Okay. The little motor is attached and all wired up, ready. I've got a 10 tooth gear on there. And I'll just plug it in. Now, I haven't made any attempt to cut the supports for the planets to length. They're just as they are, and you can see that everything works. So I'm quite happy with that. The main problem now is that the Earth rotates around this 146 tooth gear, the great wheel or whatever you want to call it, with a little 11 tooth cog, this little tiny gear. So depthing it was impossible to measure, so I've made up this little gadget, and this is hollow so that it can now fit on the bar and it can slide and we can get the depth right, and then when we're satisfied it's in the right position, it's just a question then of a bit of Loctite 603 or something like that to hold it in position. We've still got the moon support to solder on here, and we're almost there now. That shows the setup. And then when you get to the centre, then you stop. Okay. Never did like the design of this cutter. No, there are much better ones, but I've had this one for years and I've only ever used it a couple of times.
Yeah. Can't imagine there's many things with like tiny balls on.
No, you don't use them very often.
Still, quite cute.
Right, now this time come right up to the middle, this way. That's it. Keep going, keep going, keep going until you get to the centre. Okay, let's switch off and have a look. Let's clear the bird's nest. Now that we've made these smaller planets out of the acrylic, we have to drill a hole in them. And it's not easy drilling a hole in a sphere, and so I'm using this method. Now the small drill, I can't hold that in the ordinary 3-jaw chuck, so I'm having to use another chuck to hold it. And what I've got here is a piece of tubing which is smaller diameter than the ball I'm going to drill, and I'm fortunate in that I've got a rotating chuck here to hold it. Now it's just simply hold the ball against the tube so it sits comfortably, and then wind the handle in and drill the hole. Quite an easy job. For the larger planets we're using polystyrene balls. We've got to keep the weight down because the supporting arms are quite thin. And the hole in the end of the arm here is just a job. That supports it. wind in and simply drill a hole. I can always edit that, you see.
Yeah.
There we are. Awesome.
It's so cool.
They hardly seem to move.
Look at the outer ones.
Yeah. That little motor seems to do the job quite well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really effective.
Yeah.